Hi guys, I'm Priscilla from Jovem Nerd, which is a media outlet from Brazil. So it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. So,
muito prazer conhecer você.
Wow, your Portuguese is really good. Did you live there? Did you?
No, minha mulher, minha esposa é brasileira.
That's so cool.
So to survive,
you had to learn, right?
Yeah. The most important phrase I've ever learned is "Eu entendo você." So even if you don't, you better say you do.
This is very important.
We thought the war, at last, was ended.
It is here, Galadriel. The moment we feared.
I would like to start with a quick question. For how long have you been cast?
We were cast at about the same time.
Yeah. It's August or September 2019.
Well, I know exactly the date. It was the date that I can't, but it was the premiere of David Copperfield in Toronto, because I found out that day and then fainted during the Q&A for David Copperfield. So whatever that day was when I was cast. So yeah, 3 years ago now.
I was cast in August of 2019.
Oh, the distant year of 2019.
Distant year of 2019.
Same.
Same,
yeah.
We're cast together?
Yes, kind of.
Yeah,
I mean, we were put together.
We didn't do a test though, they just had to have faith.
They did.
And they got it wrong.
Yeah.
Zero chemistry.
Zero chemistry. Terrible human beings.
I see some bickering here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's flirting is what it is.
Oh, I don't trust him. I'm going to be straightforward here.
Okay.
He's like this mysterious character. He has this aura around him, and I'm like, I don't think I trust him just yet. Should I trust him?
I think that's best just to left unanswered that question. As I learned more about the character, as I was going through the process, I was desperate to know things and uncover things. But I think, so I know how everyone else feels.
Yeah. But there's lots of characters that I think you're like,
yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing about the show is you're a bit like, okay, hang on.
Yeah.
But certainly the dynamic between these guys.
Yeah,
is
she
don't think
doesn't
she trusts him, and he doesn't trust her.
Yeah.
So we're all on the same page here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're all a bit shady.
Yeah.
They're all a bit shady.
Yeah.
Arundel is a very different elf from what we're used to seeing. So what do you think your character does better than the other elves?
Oh, you're trying to start something here. But I agree. I don't know if it's in terms of better, but there's a very deep curiosity that he has for the otherness. He's like that one that wants to see what's out there, what's behind the wall. And he is a soldier that is tasked watching over the people of the Southlands. And in that, he's in close contact. He's been in close contact with humans for a long time, almost a century. And the other elves that are there keep them quite far away and thinking that they're evil. He's like, but there's something behind, you know, there's a different reason. So I think he's very concerned with, just like we are as actors, I think, with motivation and truth and the other aspect of those beings, which leads him to falling in love with a human.
And about your armor, it's so intricate, it's so beautiful, but was it comfortable?
I mean, no. It is style over comfort. I don't think an elf would feel uncomfortable with a perfect posture for eternity. So I was like, I couldn't, you know, even though it was a little bit uncomfortable for me, it really did inform the character, and it gave me a center and a sense of uprightness that is natural to the elves.
We can survive this, you and I.
You're portraying Galadriel, which is a very loved character. We know where she gets to, right? So how was it for you building like everything that came before that?
There was a quote that I found that was, because you're always, as an actor, searching for the thing that you're like, that's it. And it's when Galadriel was talking to Frodo about how with gaining wisdom, you lose innocence. And that was the door in. She's going to lose innocence, she's going to gain some wisdom, and she's going to become someone who she wouldn't imagine she would be. Yeah.
And do you prefer to go like, I'll just live this moment and here, or do you always keep in mind like where she's going to be like in the future?
Yeah, definitely. And I was really lucky that obviously the person who's shown me where she's going to be has won an Oscar. And it's like the legend Kate Blanchett. No, so I found that really useful. And it's just, I like to read and things, but I find I visually learn as well. So to have like all these cartoons of Middle Earth and things and these films was really useful to me.
We're going to like go on a deep dive with all this dwarven culture and everything. So what was the most fun thing about it?
I think knowing that that's exactly what we're doing is that we are kind of showing and kind of uncovering all the dimensions and the culture of the Dwarven Kingdom, you know, seeing it live in colour where we only ever hear or see it as a tomb. And in the past, now we see it now and how they function and finding all of their traits, their physicalities, how they love, how they get frustrated, you know, just really kind of giving them the justice they deserve, because they're an incredible race and it's time we see them in full swing.
And you guys are going to be like the first contact a lot of people have with this huge beloved franchise. So do you feel more like the heaviness of the responsibility, or do you feel more excited about it?
I think it's both. And when my dad read me The Hobbit when I was 9, I loved it so much, and it would be like, read more. And eventually you'd have to be like, no, go to bed. And then when I saw the films when I was 11, again, it was so magical for me. So the idea of like, people having their little entrance into Middle-earth through our show is a big honor.
I think because there are so many of us, I really don't feel any pressure. I feel like we're all kind of supporting each other, sharing the load. And I'm also really proud of what we've made. I have confidence in what we're putting out there.
And pressure's not a bad thing.
No.
I mean, trust me, the amount of pressure that we put on ourselves surpasses any of the pressure from any onlooker. We're going to strive to give it the amount of dedication and respect that we agree it deserves.
I mean, I definitely feel both. I feel responsible and excited, you know? I am also a fan. But I'm also, as you say, I'm first elf of color in this whole franchise. And, you know, I came to it when I was a boy. I can't even remember how old I was. And that was something that definitely stuck with me. I felt represented like intellectually and spiritually, especially by the elves, because I grew up in the mountains, but not an image, you know? So it was kind of a little dream of mine to be here and be an elf specifically. And now I am, so I feel very ready to open that up to the world.
Fight with me.
How was it wearing like all the armor you had to wear? Because it looks so good, it looks so amazing, and I love that there's no like gender distinction between like the male armor and your armor.
Every world has a different like relationship with gender, I think. And the elves, like their focus on like beauty and things, I find really interesting, because sometimes we see that as more feminine, but that's not the case. And yeah, the armor was just wonderful. And also, to get into the armor, it took about an hour or more. And it would be like 4 people from the costume department dressing me. And so it was a real ceremony. I felt like I was going to war. There was like,
What do you think it was the hardest thing of ruling a kingdom such as Numenor?
Talking to a human being with very little responsibility in his life. It was quite a stretch. No, but I think you know, it's a lot of hard work. You know, I think it's mentally and physically taxing. Being somebody like Farazon, he's got a lot on his shoulders. He's got a lot to think about, because his cousin Queen Miriel has an uphill struggle because she's Queen Regent. So she's ruling in her father's stead, who's ill. So she's always going to have people going, well, that's not what your father would do. And having to marry that relationship between the guildsmen and the people of Numenor and the Regency, I don't think that's no mean task, you know.
And Owen, you said that you did a lot of takes and did a lot of scenes with Robert Saramago while he was like standing on a box and you were on your knees.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
would you say that was the hardest thing about this whole job?
It was the newest thing that I've had to do as an actor. But also I was excited. You know, I was excited to put the prosthetics on and the beard and the wig and the costume, and being a completely different being was exciting. And so to have this element come into it as well, and to go through that with your mate, you know, because Rob and I and Sophia, I think, and all right, he comes in sometimes. But you know, we've worked together a lot whilst we were out there, and to do that with your friends and to feel comfortable enough to explore was just brilliant. Best time I've had on set, creatively speaking.
Ben, your character seems like chill. He's like at peace in the surface.
Sure.
But why didn't he go back like to the Elven land? Why is he still there?
Yeah, well, that's what I like about him. You know, he can go get a suntan on the Elvish Valhalla beach, but instead he's going to stay on this disgusting, dirty lump of rock where all the creatures are gross and want to kill each other, and I have to separate them and make them work together. No, but I think he loves it. I think he loves them. I mean, you can, in the books, you can also kind of glean that the elves wanted their own kingdom. But I choose to think that there was something a little more benevolent about it. That he believes in hope. You know, that he's lived so long, he's seen so much death and destruction, and in spite of that, he still believes in love and in, he understands the frailty of man, but he believes in their potential.
It is over.
You have not seen what I've seen.
I have seen my share.
You have not seen what I have seen.
Sophia, you have this scene as this where you sing, and I would like to know if it was any different in preparing for this scene specifically, or for like a musical or something.
Completely different. Like, this is about drawing out the power in your voice, metaphorically and literally, in order to move mountains. So I feel, you know, this was not a sound of kind of, I will survive. This was something quite different. This was finding your inner soul through your voice.
I would love to watch that musical. Dwarves, the musical. 5, 6, 7, 8.
It'll happen. Yeah, it was something much more spiritual and beautiful and very different from doing it standard.
Peter Jackson recently said in an interview that he would like to forget the Lord of the Rings, like the movies he made, so he could watch it as a fan. So would you guys do it?
If I got paid still, I'd erase it all and watch it as a fan, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I find watching myself unbearable, which is why I'm so glad that there's loads of different worlds. Because when the Harfoots come on, I'm like, nice. And when the dwarves come on, I'm like, cool. And yeah, no, absolutely. You always want to be able to watch something you've done without any knowledge.
Because you watch it with all the stories of making it. You're like, oh, I can remember I had eggs for breakfast on that day, or or it's like
the boring aspects of it. Yeah.
You have fought long enough, Galadriel. Put up your sword.
Without it, what am I to be?